Hello. I wonder if you have any photo albums like this at home, or maybe digital storage which has pictures of you from when you were a baby until now. It's fun to look at them, isn't it? And it's even more fun when you're older and you've forgotten a bit about what you and your family looked like, what you wore, the places you went to and the friends you played with. That's why we keep pictures, to help us keep those happy memories. Jesus didn't have a photo album, no cameras in those days, but his parents would have had particular memories of him as he was growing up, just as your parents do. I saw a lovely picture which was painted in an old book, one of those illuminated manuscript books that monks wrote and painted before printing was invented. It's a picture of Jesus in a baby walker at home with Joseph and Mary. And I think if they'd had cameras then, that's the sort of picture they would have taken and kept. We don't often think about it, but Jesus grew up in the same way that we do. He had to learn to walk and share his toys with his brothers and sisters. He had to learn who was who in his village and learn not to touch sharp tools in Joseph's workshop. In Jesus' time, there weren't schools like yours, but some of the children would have learned to read and write, and it was the priests, the rabbis, who would teach them. So they would have seen the temple a bit like you see Christopher Rawlins' school. It's a place where you and your friends go to learn, and you listen to your teachers, and you can ask them questions. We don't have many stories about Jesus growing up in the Bible. We hear about when he was a baby, and then we have this one picture, like a photograph, of something that happened when we think he was about 12 years old. Joseph and Mary took Jesus to Jerusalem, to a special festival which lasted a couple of days. There were lots of people there and lots of friends for Jesus to play with. As they began their journey home at the end, with friends from their village, Mary suddenly realised that Jesus wasn't with them or their friends' families. What do you think Joseph and Mary did? They retraced their steps back to Jerusalem, and they looked everywhere for Jesus, getting more and more worried. Have you ever been lost? What did your parents do? Imagine, with the person sitting next to you, or your family if you're at home, what it would be like to get lost when you'd gone out somewhere with your family. What would your parents say to you when they found you? Jesus' parents were probably so worried they were a bit cross with him. Not really angry, just worried about what had happened to him when they couldn't find him. Eventually, Joseph and Mary found Jesus in the temple, which, remember, was a sort of mixture of our church and school. Jesus was talking to the teachers and the leaders. I expect Joseph and Mary said the same sort of things to him that your parents would say to you if you'd been lost. And I expect Jesus said sorry to them for not telling them where he was. But he also said something odd. He said, "Don't you know that I had to be here, dealing with the things of my Father?" What do you think he could have meant? Jesus knew that he had a special relationship with God, and that eventually he was going to be doing God's work. He knew that as well as growing up in his village and helping his parents. He needed to be getting ready for the special task that God had called him to. St. Luke tells us Jesus matured, growing up in both body and spirit, blessed by both God and people.